Hello everyone. Welcome to our Exploring English podcast channel, and are you looking to improving your English speaking and listening skills? Look no further. Our podcast conversations are the perfect way to improve your English language skills. By watching our podcast conversations, you'll be able to hear authentic English spoken at a natural pace by native speakers, helping you to better understand the language and improve your listening skills. Additionally, by listening to our conversations, you'll be able to pick up on common English phrases and idioms, helping you to improve natural when speaking English. So, join us for our podcast conversations and take your English language skills to the next level.
All right, so are you ready to dive into something that's incredibly relevant for anyone who's ever, sent an email, browsed a website, or liked a cat video?
Basically everyone.
Yeah, pretty much everyone.
Yeah.
It's all about online safety, and with Safer Internet Day right around the corner, I thought we'd go beyond the typical change your passwords advice.
Right.
And really kind of dig deeper into this whole landscape.
Yeah, what's so fascinating is that online safety, it isn't just about avoiding like those obvious pitfalls,
Right.
Like scams or viruses. It's really about, understanding this ever-evolving landscape of the digital world and then equipping ourselves with the knowledge and the tools to navigate it effectively.
So let's get right to it. We all know the internet can be a risky place, but how bad is it really? Give me the hard-hitting stats. What are some of the most surprising or concerning trends that you've come across in your research?
Well, one thing that really struck me was this recent study that I saw that found that over 60% of adults have experienced some form of online harassment.
What?
And it's not just limited to nasty comments or cyberbullying.
Right.
We're seeing a rise in more sophisticated tactics like doxing, where someone's personal information is maliciously published online.
Oh, wow.
And even deepfakes, where AI is used to create these incredibly realistic but fake videos.
Oh, gosh.
That could be used for blackmail or to spread misinformation.
Yeah, that's seriously scary stuff. It's like the internet is becoming a breeding ground for increasingly insidious threats.
Yeah, it's true. And it really highlights the fact that online safety is an ongoing process. We can't just, learn a few basic tips and think we're good to go.
Right.
We need to be constantly adapting and staying informed about the latest threats.
So how do we stay ahead of the curve? I mean, it's not like there's a user manual for the internet.
You're right. There's no one-size-fits-all solution. But that's where I think Safer Internet Day comes in. Yeah. It's not just about a single day of awareness. It's a catalyst for these ongoing conversations, collaborations, and initiatives that are all aimed at creating a safer and more inclusive digital world.
Okay, so Safer Internet Day, the annual reminder that the internet can be a scary place. But honestly, doesn't it feel a bit like preaching to the choir? I mean, most people are aware of the basic risks, right?
Yeah, you'd be surprised. While many people are aware of, the general concepts, there's often this disconnect between awareness and action.
Okay.
For instance, a recent survey revealed that while over 80% of people claim to be concerned about online privacy, less than half actually take the time to review and adjust their privacy settings on social media platforms.
It's we know we should be doing more, but it's so easy to just get complacent. So how does Safer Internet Day actually bridge that gap between awareness and action? What makes it more than just a symbolic gesture?
It's about providing people with the tools and resources they need to make these informed decisions about their online safety. Think of it as a springboard for action. The theme for 2025, Together for Better Internet, really emphasizes this collective responsibility that we all share in shaping a positive online culture.
Okay. I like that Together for a Better Internet sounds a lot more empowering than don't get hacked. But how do we actually translate that theme into concrete actions?
Well, it starts with recognizing that online safety isn't just about individual responsibility. It's about fostering a collaborative environment where we support each other, and we share knowledge, and we hold platforms accountable.
So it's not just about me changing my password every month. It's about creating this culture of online safety. But how do we actually do that? What are some tangible ways we can contribute to a safer internet, both individually and collectively?
One of the most effective things you can do is to stay informed about the latest threats and trends in online safety organizations like the National Cybersecurity Alliance and the Electronic Frontier Foundation offer a wealth of information and resources on topics ranging from phishing scams to data privacy.
Okay, so we need to stay informed, but knowledge is only powerful if it's shared, right?
Absolutely. Talk to your friends, family, and colleagues about online safety. You might be surprised how many people are unaware of even basic precautions.
It's like that saying, a chain is only as strong as its weakest link.
Exactly.
Yeah.
We need to create this network of informed and vigilant individuals to make the internet a safer place for everyone. And Safer Internet Day provides a perfect opportunity to start those conversations.
Yeah, it's like this global reminder to kind of check in on our online habits and make sure we're doing everything we can to protect ourselves and those around us. But let's be honest, sometimes talking about online safety can feel a bit like a downer.
Right.
It's all about, risks and threats and things we should be worried about. Can we talk about the good stuff? The amazing things that the internet makes possible?
Absolutely. In fact, focusing on the positive potential of the internet is a key part of creating a safer online environment.
Okay.
When we use the internet for good, we contribute to a more hopeful and humane digital landscape. And that's something worth celebrating.
Okay, let's dig into that. What are some of the most inspiring examples of the internet being used for good that you've come across in your research? Stories that kind of showcase the power of the internet to connect, educate, and empower people.
One example that really resonated with me was a story about this group of young activists who used social media to organize a global campaign to raise awareness about climate change.
Wow.
They created this viral hashtag, mobilized millions of people to participate in these online protests, and ultimately influenced policy decisions at the international level.
That's incredible. It shows how even young people armed with nothing but like a smartphone and an internet connection can have a real impact on the world.
And it highlights the fact that the internet can be this powerful force for social change. It gives a voice to those who might not otherwise be heard, and it enables people from all walks of life to connect and collaborate on issues they care about.
It's like the internet is this megaphone for positive change.
Exactly. And that's why Safer Internet Day is so important. It's not just about mitigating risks, it's about harnessing the power of the internet for good.
So how can we as individuals contribute to that positive vision? How can we use our online presence to make the internet a more positive and impactful force in the world?
Welcome back to our deep dive into Safer Internet Day. We were just discussing these inspiring ways people are using the internet as a force for good.
Yeah, it's truly amazing to see how people are leveraging the internet's power to create positive change.
Right.
But I think it's also important to remember, for every inspiring story, there are countless examples of the internet being used for, less noble purposes.
Right.
So let's shift gears a bit and talk about some practical strategies for staying safe online. We've all heard the usual advice: use strong passwords, be careful what you share, etc. But let's go a little deeper than that. What are some of the less obvious but equally important things people should be doing to protect themselves online?
One thing that often gets overlooked is the importance of regularly reviewing and updating your privacy settings on all your online accounts.
Oh, yeah.
Those settings are constantly changing, and the defaults are often designed to maximize data collection, not necessarily your privacy.
Yeah, I'm definitely guilty of just clicking accept without really understanding what I'm agreeing to. So what are some key privacy settings that people should be paying attention to?
It really depends on the platform, but some common ones include, controlling who can see your posts and profile information, limiting the data that apps can access, and opting out of targeted advertising. It's worth taking the time to actually explore these settings and make informed choices about how your data is being used.
Yeah, and it's not just about social media, right? We're talking about everything from our email accounts to our online banking.
Exactly. Any online service that collects your personal information should have privacy settings that you can customize. It's empowering to kind of take control of your digital footprint and make sure your data is being handled responsibly.
Speaking of data, let's talk about passwords. I know it's a pain to have to remember a million different passwords, but using strong, unique passwords for each of your accounts is absolutely crucial.
You're right. A strong password is really your first line of defense against hackers and cyber criminals.
Yeah.
A good rule of thumb is to use a combination of uppercase and lowercase letters, numbers, and symbols, and make it at least 12 characters long.
And what about password managers? Are those a safe and effective way to keep track of all those complex passwords?
Yeah, reputable password managers can be a great tool, especially if you have a lot of online accounts. They can generate those strong, unique passwords for you and store them securely, so you only need to remember one master password.
That sounds a lot less stressful than trying to memorize a different password for every website I visit.
It definitely takes the mental load off. Just make sure you choose a reputable password manager and follow best practices for securing your master password.
Okay, so we've covered passwords and privacy settings. What about phishing scams? Those seem to be getting more sophisticated all the time. How can we protect ourselves from falling victim to those?
Yeah, you're right. Phishing scams are becoming increasingly difficult to spot. But there are some red flags to watch out for. Be wary of any unsolicited emails or messages that ask you for personal information, especially login credentials or financial details. Legitimate organizations will never ask for that kind of information via email or text.
So if I get an email that looks like it's from my bank asking for my account number, I should just delete it.
Exactly. And if you're ever unsure about the legitimacy of an email or message, contact the organization directly through their official website or phone number.
That's a good tip. It's always better to err on the side of caution. And speaking of caution, let's talk about online shopping. It's so convenient, but it also comes with its own set of risks. What are some things people should be aware of when making purchases online?
First and foremost, always shop on reputable websites. Look for the padlock icon in the address bar, which indicates that the site is secure and your information is encrypted. And be wary of deals that seem too good to be true. If a price is significantly lower than what you see on other websites, it could be a red flag.
Yeah, it's like that old saying, if it sounds too good to be true, it probably is.
Exactly. It's always wise to do your research, read reviews, and make sure the seller is legitimate before handing over your credit card information.
And speaking of credit cards, are there any specific precautions people should take when using them online?
It's generally safer to use a credit card for online purchases, as opposed to a debit card. Credit cards offer more protection against fraud. If your card is compromised, you're typically only liable for a limited amount of unauthorized charges.
That's good to know. It's reassuring to know that there are safeguards in place to protect us if something goes wrong.
And it's important to be proactive about monitoring your accounts. Check your bank statements and credit card statements regularly for any suspicious activity and report it immediately if you notice anything unusual.
So it's all about being vigilant and taking those extra steps to protect ourselves. But it's not just about individual responsibility, right? What role do governments and organizations play in creating a safer internet?
You're absolutely right. Individual actions are important, but they're only part of the solution. We need a multifaceted approach that involves governments, organizations, and tech companies working together to create a safer and more equitable digital landscape.
So what are some of the key initiatives or policies that are being implemented to address online safety at a broader level?
One major development has been the increasing focus on data privacy regulations. For example, the European Union's General Data Protection Regulation, or GDPR, has set a high bar for data protection, giving individuals more control over their personal information and holding companies accountable for how they collect and use data.
That sounds like a significant step in the right direction.
It is, and many countries are following suit with their own data privacy laws. We're also seeing increased efforts to combat cybercrime, with law enforcement agencies working to track down and prosecute cybercriminals and tech companies investing in more robust security measures to protect their users.
It's encouraging to see that these issues are being taken seriously at a global level.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And there's a growing recognition that online safety is not just a tech issue, it's a human rights issue. Everyone has the right to feel safe and secure online, regardless of their age, gender, ethnicity, or location.
That's a powerful statement. It really underscores the importance of this conversation. We've talked a lot about the risks and challenges, but what about the role of education and awareness? How can we empower people, especially young people, to become responsible digital citizens?
We've been talking about, the importance of this multifaceted approach to online safety involving governments, organizations, and tech companies. But ultimately, it all comes down to individual empowerment, right?
Yeah, absolutely. We can have all the laws and regulations in the world, but if people aren't equipped with the knowledge and the skills to navigate the digital landscape safely and responsibly, those measures will only go so far.
Right.
So let's talk about education. How do we empower people, especially young people, to become savvy and resilient digital citizens?
It starts with early education,
Yep.
just as we teach children, basic safety rules for the physical world.
Right.
We need to start teaching them about online safety from a young age. This includes things like understanding privacy settings, recognizing phishing scams, and knowing how to report cyberbullying or harassment.
That makes sense. But it can't just be a one-time lesson, right?
Yeah.
The internet is constantly evolving, so our approach to education needs to evolve as well.
You're exactly right. Online safety education needs to be an ongoing process integrated into the curriculum at all levels of education. And it needs to go beyond just teaching those technical skills. We need to foster critical thinking skills, media literacy, and digital empathy.
Digital empathy. That's an interesting concept. What does that entail?
It's about teaching people to consider the impact of their words and actions online, to understand that there's a real person on the other side of the screen, and to treat others with respect and kindness, even in the virtual world.
It's like applying the golden rule to the digital realm.
Exactly. And it's so crucial for creating a more positive and inclusive online culture.
We've talked a lot about the risks and challenges of the online world, but I kind of want to circle back to the idea of the internet as a force for good. How can we encourage people to use their online presence in a way that promotes positive change?
One powerful way is to highlight and amplify the voices of individuals and organizations that are using the internet for good. Share their stories, support their causes, and help spread their message.
So it's about using our online platforms to shine a light on the good stuff happening in the world.
Precisely. And it's also about being mindful of our own online behavior. Are we contributing to a positive and respectful online environment? Are we using our voices to lift others up or to tear them down?
It's a good reminder that we all have the power to shape the digital world that we want to live in.
Exactly. And that's ultimately what Safer Internet Day is all about. Empowering individuals to take an active role in creating a safer, more inclusive, and more equitable online experience for everyone.
Well, this has been a truly insightful deep dive into this, complex and ever-evolving world of online safety. We've covered a lot of ground from, the latest threats and trends to the importance of education, digital empathy, and collective action.
It's been a fascinating exploration, and I really hope our listeners, feel empowered to take what they've learned and apply it to their own online lives.
Yeah, for sure. So remember, Safer Internet Day is just a starting point. These principles of online safety responsibility and digital citizenship are relevant every single day.
So as you continue your journey through the digital landscape, remember to stay informed, stay vigilant, and stay connected. Together we can create a better internet for everyone.